specifically what we're seeing with inflation, what we're seeing with rising gas prices, pretty much everyone talking about we're likely going to go into recession. What does this mean for art? What does this mean for artists? We can certainly get into some of those topics at a high level too. But we can start out with any questions that you might have. If you're one of the brave ones that has your camera on and you have a question and you want to raise your hand, well, Gerald, you're the only brave one right now. So if you have a question, Gerald, all you have to do is raise your hand and I'll see you. For everybody else, at the bottom of your Zoom window, there's like a little smiley face and it says reactions with a little plus on top of it. And if you click that thing, what that lets you do is it lets you raise your hand digitally speaking. And that lets me know, hey, you've got a question, you want to come on, I can unmute you and you can ask about whatever you like. Anything that we do at Art Storefronts, anything art or business or photography, business and marketing related, be more than happy to answer any and all of those questions. And we need a brave person to go first. It always takes one brave person to start, to kick things off. If you don't want to turn your camera on, by the way, you don't have to turn your camera on. I totally understand that. I hate being on video, let alone I know people often will multitask and like do this while they're at work. So don't worry, I'm not trying to get you in trouble. If you're one of the ones that's watching on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter, I see your comments as well. So if you leave a comment, have a question, I can bring those right in too. But who wants to get us started? I need a brave one out there. Oh, Gerald. Oh, Neil. Good man, Neil. You're first, Neil. Thanks.
I figured I'd have to type.
Yeah, it's so much easier just to talk, isn't it?
It is. Tap, tap, tap. It's pretty boring.
Yes, it does.
Hey, you communicate well. It's nice watching your video, and thanks for being candid.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. My question is, I have a really hard time believing that some of my stuff's even like marketable or desirable.
Yes.
It'll get, it'll not to be, contrived in humility, but I really do have a difficult time believing it. But it's decent art, so
yes,
might as well try.
And I imagine you get likes and comments and shares and people saying you should sell this, but it hasn't sold.
Yeah. And it's, a lot of that's also, I sell for a living, I have for 15 years. And if I'm not into it, then I just can't sell it because,
it's so true. It's so true, isn't it? It's like, I hate to use the analogy, but the analogy is so true. When you're in your single days and you're single and you're running around trying to meet some gals and there's like a pheromone that comes out of you. They know you're single. And then the minute you're like in a relationship, like all of a sudden it becomes easier to get girls and it's like, wow, the world is just so unfair. There's something like if you're not in it and you don't love it and you don't fully believe in it, it's never going to work. Right.
Yeah.
So question for you then, you've been doing this for a while and you've been selling for years. And so really the question is just on some of the stuff that you don't believe in, or I'm confused there a little bit.
Well, yeah, do you guys is there a way I could even just shoot and link over? I think I saw an email from one of you guys like, hey, do you got 5-10 minutes where you could just take a look at your stuff and I'll tell you right now?
We could totally take a look at it, but you know what? It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. It's all academic and it's all bullshit. And the reason I bring it up and the reason I say it that way is that the only one that can tell you is the almighty dollar or the almighty credit card. Until that thing comes out of the wallet, it's all just talk. It's all just talk. Right. And, one of the most common refrains and one of the ways that it manifests itself like again and again and again is I'll constantly get emails of people sending me because my name Patrick is used in the emails, like almost all of them. I'll get like emails with like 30 or 40 images attached to it and be like, hey, can you just take a look and can you just tell me, do you think this is going to work? Do you think this is going to pencil? And I certainly have a value judgment that I could make about whether or not I think the work is good enough. But to be honest with you, we have customers that are selling incredibly well, and I, for the life of me, don't know how they're doing it. I'm not kidding. You think I'm kidding, Neil? I am not kidding. And I do not, for the life of me, understand. I mean, we've got one gentleman that does extremely well with his photography. I am an amateur photographer. I took photography classes, in college, even had to do the dark room. I understand the rule of thirds. I understand framing. I understand depth of field. And he doesn't even understand these things. He's taking snapshots, and yet he's got a valuable business, and I don't understand it. And, more power to him, right? So The thing you don't ever want to get out of your head is that anyone that can tell you aside from the actual transaction, right?
Mm-hmm.
And again,
Mm-hmm.
the trap is I get a ton of likes, I get a ton of comments, I get a ton of shares. Everyone tells me I should sell my work. I got the very first award in the such and such contest. I got into a juried art show, to which I always reply, Neil, if I picked you up to your house right now and drove you to the ATM machine, is there a button on the ATM machine for likes, for comments, for shares, for juried art show, for everyone tells me my work is great? No. There never is, there never has been, there never will be. The only thing that matters is that you can actually sell it. So, notwithstanding your own confidence, you still have to try to sell it.
Yes.
You're like, telling me something I don't know.
I appreciate it.
Do
Yeah.
you do shows or fairs, or have you done shows or fairs?
Not really. Yeah, sharing my stuff has ended up in, it's taken me into surprising places,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still worth doing and it's still worth sharing.
Yes, 100% it is.
Yeah. So, you know, the places were interesting enough that I'd like to find a different interesting place to be. Not always the best of interesting.
Yeah.
Say.
Yep.
Yeah.
I gotcha. But you can, you can put all it up on a website. You can run live art shows like you saw in the video. There's a number of different ways to get it out, but you have to get it out, and you have to get it in front of eyeballs, and you have to get strangers to tell you whether or not they will buy it with the almighty dollar and or credit card coming out of the wallet. That's the only way you will ever know. There's no one else that can tell you.
Let the market tell you. The market always wins anyway.
Oh,
yeah, I
yep.
appreciate feedback. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, so. And there's so many people that the scary thing, and to not the scary thing, but the thing to build on Neil's question is a good clip of people skip the steps. And when I say they skip the steps, they say they bank on the fact that they've been getting a ton of likes, a ton of comments, a ton of shares. Everyone tells them their work is great. Everyone tells them that they should sell it. They got into a juried art show, but they never sold anything. And they're like, you know what I got to do? I just need to start working on my marketing. But that's folly to do it that way. The only thing early on, if you've never sold to strangers, is selling the work to strangers. And so you have to get yourself into this situation where you have to ask yourself, is whatever you're doing right now getting the work in front of strangers and attempting to sell it? And if the answer to that question is no, you are working on the wrong thing. You are wasting your time. You are getting onto a highway that will take you squarely to hobby town, okay? Because that's what you'll have is a hobby. And the analogy that I love to give in this situation, I think it's such a good one. And Neil, I'll use you, and let's say it's you and me. And we've always wanted to be chefs. Okay, let's take it out of the art world. We've always wanted to be chefs. And we always wanted to have our own restaurant. And so the two of us are like, you know what? This is the year. Let's do it. Let's do it and let's figure it out. And what do? I'm like, okay, I work on a business plan for like a month and a half. And then I take the business plan to the bank. And then I work on getting the financing with the bank. And then I run around town and I find this beautiful spot. And then I lease the beautiful spot, right? I lease the beautiful spot and I lease all the restaurant equipment and I hire a staff and I take care of the decor and I get everything ready to go. And I'm so excited and I'm about ready to open my restaurant. Now, over the course of that period of time, I was really busy working on a bunch of stuff, wasn't I? A business plan and negotiating with the bank and finding a lease. And my tendency there is to feel really good about how hard I've been working on things. This is going to be awesome. Well, guess what happens? I open the restaurant, I get everyone in, and I find out nobody likes my food. Nobody likes my food. And so I've wasted like a year and a half of my life doing all that running around, getting all of that stuff sorted, getting all that stuff dialed in. When in contrast, look what you did, Neil. Neil, why I'm on I haven't even opened up Google Docs or Microsoft Word and got onto page 2 of my stupid business plan. I'm Googling how to write a business plan like a business plan matters. Neil drives down to Costco, gets himself a rolly cart, cooks up his tacos, pushes them into an office building the next weekend, puts up a little makeshift sign and says, Neil's Tacos. And a bunch of people come in and get in line because it smells good. They have them and they're like, yeah, that was all right, Neil, but don't come back, dude. Okay. I mean, they're okay for now, but don't come back next time. And Neil's like, okay, my tacos are not the thing. So then next weekend, Neil does his burgers, and he's got an incredible burger, and he goes into a different office building and does the exact same thing with the burgers. And now he's got a line around the corner inside the office building because these burgers are so damn good. Everyone's talking about them in the entire office park. And they're like, come back whenever you want. Now, Neil now knows he has a business. And then if he wants to go and do all that stuff that I did, the business plan and negotiate with the bank and lease a space, he knows when his doors open, he is going to have a running and robust restaurant, okay? So the point is, if you have not figured out that you have a product that the market wants yet, and you're working on anything but figuring out whether or not you have a product the market wants, you're working on the wrong thing. You're spinning your wheels. And, time and time again, I see artists that are taking a great deal of joy because they feel like they're working towards their dream when they are working on all of the things except the thing that matters. Except the thing that matters. And the only thing that matters is selling the work in front of strangers. Once that's done, then you're just into normal marketing. And then your problem becomes marketing like all the rest of us, which is also a pain in the butt to solve, but a very solvable problem. So that's how it goes. You violate those rules at your peril, in my estimation. And again, been doing this for long enough now. But who else, guys? Questions? I did have one on the socials, and I don't fully understand. And I responded to you, Melissa. Do you provide ads on social media with your packages? We do have an in-house marketing agency. I think that's what you're asking me. That helps with all sorts of things. And one of the things that they do help, yes, is with Facebook ads. Most people are not ready to do Facebook and Instagram ads until they've generated a couple $1,000s in sales, and that they've started doing the rest of their marketing. So if you're in that boat, awesome. If not, we need to train you up to get you in that boat, and see where it goes from there. So that's how I'd respond to that. But who else, guys? Questions? I feel like over the last couple of days, the last couple of these sessions, everyone has been terrified to ask questions, and I don't know what it is. I haven't changed anything. What has changed? I don't know. But anybody, questions about anything? You can raise your hand digitally speaking. There's like a reactions face and a little plus sign at the very bottom. You click that lets me know you have a question. You don't necessarily need to come on camera. And you can ask whatever you want about what we do at Art Storefronts, about where you are in your business, about something you're potentially struggling with, about Facebook ads, Instagram ads, anything art or photography, marketing, or related. That's what I would say. All right, Irina's saying, the internet and social media with all the tools came easier for young people, millennials, and younger. It may be a little bit more difficult to succeed. Do you help with the marketing part? Yeah, Irina, so we teach you. We teach you, and trust me, it doesn't matter how old you are. You have to be completely contrarian about it. And, the issue is all of us are just fishermen at the end of the day. Like, right? Let's just take it away that I'm trying to market myself and software in our solution, and you're trying to market your art, your photography, whatever it is that you do, Irina. And when I say we're all just fishermen, if we're fishermen and our job is to catch fish, and we jumped in a boat, okay, we are going to drive the boat, Irina, to where the fish are. And the fish are on Instagram. And the fish, to a lesser extent, are on Facebook. And that's not changing. And until it does, that's what we have to do. We have to get there. So you have to learn how to do it. You're just a fisherman. You have to go to where the fish are. It's totally okay. Okay? It's totally okay. Because it's easy enough to learn. You can do great. When I say it's easy enough to learn, the first year sucks. Okay? Anyone that tells you the first year doesn't suck is lying to you. But yes, the first year sucks. Once you start learning the arena and you start making some progress and you get some forward momentum, you can do great. And we have people that just start with no Instagram account in their 70s. We even had a guy sign up last week that was in his 90s. And I'm worried that he signed up because I don't think he has the technical chops. But the larger point is, you can learn this stuff, and you've got plenty of time left to learn this stuff. So that's how I'd respond to that. So I've got a question on Facebook. I've heard you say that SEO doesn't help. Please, can you let me know your thoughts on this? Yes, Vicky, you can waste approximately 0 seconds on worrying about SEO for even a slightest second. SEO does not work. It is not going to help you sell art. It is no different than other forms of marketing, meaning it's not some sort of magical thing that you do and fish all of a sudden jump in the boat. It takes years and years and years of working at it. And even if you did decide you were going to spend the years and years and years working on SEO, which no one ever does, social sites are far more effective at moving art and photography, far more visual search engines and platforms. And The reality that you can answer this for yourself very, very easy, Vicky, is people don't go into Google and look for a type of art and type in for that type of art and then purchase that type of art. Does not happen. That is not a normal behavior. And if 1,000 pieces of art sell online, I would say less than 5 all take place as a result of SEO, search engine optimization, where they locate the artist via Google, via Bing, via DuckDuckGo. It just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. And yet a lot of people run around like it does happen, and they are completely full of it, okay? And I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm just telling you it doesn't work that way. What they do is maybe they'll Google an artist on Google. Then they'll find you. Then they'll follow you on social media because they're not ready to buy right there and then. And then 6 months later, they'll purchase. But to think that that is the best way to do it, SEO, it is not. It is a waste of time. Far more effective, far more revenue positive platform to be marketing on would be Instagram and or Facebook, which is kind of nice in some ways because you don't have to worry about SEO in the slightest. Like in our software, it's all automatic now. We don't even let our customers do it. The only thing they can SEO is they can SEO. You can overwrite it if you want to do it, but no one does. You do your homepage, and all you do is the description. You do your homepage, you do your About Me page, you do your commissions page, maybe one other page if you have it. That's it. In terms of all the pieces being SEO'd, it happens automatically on our software in like 2 seconds. So that's what I would say. Don't need to do it. One less thing, right? Make your life a little bit easier. And if any of you guys in the Zoom, for some reason, everything is slipped around and now I'm getting questions online and not in Zoom, which is totally weird. Poggy Phoenix says, do you guys help with the prices of art? I have a few pieces of art, but I do not know how to set the prices. Yes, we do. It's very, very easy to set prices. Poggy, you do it very, very quickly. It's almost like throwing darts. It doesn't matter. You always get a shot. If you want to throw the dart again, all you got to do is go up to the board, pick it up, and then throw it again. So look at it. Make a judgment call, set the prices, go try and sell it. If it sells right away, raise your prices. If it doesn't sell at all, you could have some other issues, but we teach you how to do it quite a bit. All right. Leo's asking, Patrick, what can a real game changer for an artist? I've been steady sales for the past 2 years thanks to online sales, but if I want to retire comfortably in 20 years, I need to think of something a bit more radical. I have a big range of prices, but the majority of collectors want a deal even if they have means. Now I know just based, by the way, on that one response there by Leo, that he is absolutely telling me the truth. Okay. Because when you're in this business for any period of time, like one of the common refrains out there from folks is, I don't want to run sales. I can't do that. That'll cheapen the way that who I am, and that'll cheapen my brand. Those people have never sold anything ever, and they're not ever going to sell anything ever, okay? The higher you go up on the scale, the more high net worth individuals you deal with, the higher the price of the art, especially if it gets over like the 50, 60, 70,000 range, the more negotiation that happens. Collectors and high net worth individuals did not get there, aside from the ones in the inheritance business, did not get there by ever paying retail for anything. So Leo, I know you're there. But I disagree, Leo. I disagree completely. And the reason I disagree is you've got 20 years. You've got 20 years to keep grinding consistently on the marketing. No one ever takes into account the perspective of how much time you have left to get the business right, number one. And number two, the only thing that works, and the only thing that works is regular and consistent work on your marketing, right? And you've got 20 years left until you're planning on retiring. You can absolutely explode that business if you keep working consistently on what you've been doing. Like I'm very, just based on what you're typing here and the fact that you're selling that much. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some things you still need to do in terms of how you approach and look at the items that you have in your store, the range of price points you have in there. Are you selling merchandise in addition to the wall art? Are you marketing consistently? Are you running sales all the right times of year? Are you running live art shows? A lot of things I talk about all the time, Leo. But if you're doing those things, all you have to do is keep doing those things and doing them consistently, right? And do not fall into the trap of treating the marketing of your business like a New Year's resolution. This is going to be my year. I'm going to kill it. I'm going to do so great. And January comes along and you're going to the gym 4 days a week, right? Oh, this is going to be my year. I'm going to get so fit. And then March comes along and you've been once all month. and you're like, oh man, what happened? You know, I went off the rails. That is how artists and photographers, by and large, treat their marketing. They do it for a little bit, and then they get dissuaded and quit because they're looking for immediate results. And they don't understand that it's like, it's years 5, 6, 7, 8 where the business really starts getting momentum and really starts humming and really starts getting easy. Now, that's not to say you're not going to see success earlier, but the point of it is no one has the perspective of how long it takes to become a successful artist or photographer, how hard you have to work at it, how consistently, and the fact that you can't quit. Once that comes into your mind and you understand it and you get prepared for the right sprint, those 20 years, Leah, are a joy. They're going to be so fun. Contemplate where that business is going to be in 5 years. Contemplate where that business is going to be in 10 years, let alone 15, let alone 20, right? So that's what I would say. It's a great question, though. And I think that's awesome where you're at already. That's very, very impressive. All right. What else, guys? Questions? Blake, Gerald, James, Jana, Michael, Pablo, Sharisa, Veronica, Taya. Any of you guys have questions? I'm calling you guys all out because you're a quiet bunch today. I am not above poking and prodding, okay? Not above it. But yeah, where else was I going? I was going to talk about inflation. Yeah, we're doing a crazy new discount, by the way. We realize that inflation is real, okay? The insane gas prices is real, and you know, what can we do to help out? So we're literally having a inflation sucks and so do gas prices relief sale going on for the next 2 weeks. So if you were ever looking at art storefronts and we're like, these guys might know what they're talking about, I wonder if this is a good time to sign up. This is a very good time to sign up because we are having a crazy deal. And I think like they've even thrown in some additional incentives. And, you know, we had a big meeting on it this morning and literally said it this morning. I was in the desert this weekend for Easter. We went out to go see my mother-in-law, and I had to go to a local Albertsons, okay, to get a 4-pack of the AAA batteries, and it was in there for $19, a 4-pack of the AAA batteries. And I realized this is a store in Southern California, and you know it's the desert weekend, but it's like, are you kidding me? Inflation is starting to become insanely real, and it's terrifying. So we've got a big crazy sale. And Jeannie's asking, do I know exactly what the numbers is? No, I don't even know exactly what the numbers is. I just know that they've put more into it and lowered the price more so I think than they ever have before, Jeannie. So that's what they've done in the deal. And, you know, to see it, you have to see a demo. And a demo is like, it's a 1-hour Zoom session one-on-one where they walk you through all the bells, all the whistles, all the marketing, all the plans, all the everything that we do. It's cool. It's cool to see. If you've never seen one, you should go see one because you get to see what all we have to offer. But only do that if you're serious and you're ready. If this is the first time you've heard about us and you're like, okay, let me see who these guys are, you know, don't feel like you need to go and do that. But that's what I would say. Yeah, Liz is asking how long is the sale going to be on? So the sale is going to be on till the end of the month, and then I think it's done. So however many days left it is. How do you schedule it? Yeah, you just go to our site, and I can do show and tell. I can do show and tell. Look at this. Look at this, by the way. This is what I Googled. This is how real inflation is, and this has just infuriated me. This is what cost me $19 in a freaking store, in an Albertsons, no less. It wasn't even like a corner market or like a small non-branded store. $19? Inflation is real, I'll tell you. Sorry. So if you go to our site, either of our sites, Art Storefronts, or if you're on the blog or whatever, all you have to do is request a demo. If we have information on you, I could do it for you myself, but I don't know. You just fill out this form, boom, and they'll call you, they'll contact you. So that's how you do it. But yeah, you can tell I'm still infuriated by the freaking yes, it's crazy. It's like, what? And I needed him. There was no way around it. I needed him for this like little thing that I was doing. So I just, whatever. I'm done with my complaints. But it better stop. So anyway, we're having the inflation sale. Inflation, actually, by the way, it's going to hurt you guys significantly less than it's going to hurt most businesses. And the reason being is Like batteries, I know what the prices are, right? I know those batteries should not have been $19. And so I saw that price and like the sticker shock just like terrified me. It's not going to happen with what you guys sell. And the reason is because you cannot comparison shop art, right? Art, because of the nature of what it is, everything doesn't compare to everything else out there. It's not like I can like look at your art and scan it in my phone and see what it costs on Amazon and go to some deal site and see if I can't find it, right? So that's the very, very good news about it, that inflation is not going to hurt art sales at a macro. And by the way, the stats are, if you live, and the CEO and I are going to do a session on this like in an hour or something, but if you are a combined household income making in upwards of $300,000 a year, apparently inflation doesn't touch you at all, because it just doesn't even come into your life. You don't go to the gas pump and look at the gas pump and see what it costs. You just put the credit card in, and then when the bill comes, you pay it, right? So, the majority of art buyers are in that bracket, and that's a good way to contemplate it. Yeah. So Liz is asking, how important is it to find your niche and style in order to be successful? It's not at all. Early on, especially, like everyone thinks like I'm, that you have to literally invert this one, Liz, and everyone gets this wrong. Everyone thinks that I'll just get started when I figure out what my niche is, or I'll launch my website when I figure out what my niche is, or if I could just figure out what my niche is. Well, how the hell are you supposed to figure out what your niche is until you get the art in front of a whole bunch of people and you see whether or not it sells and you get feedback on what works? And, I see some people that don't even have a niche, even now, and they're doing great. They're successful. And they sell some wall art, they sell some classes, they sell knickknacks, they sell quilts. Doesn't matter. They're all over the place. And photography sometimes. And it's a bunch of different subject matter materials. I've seen people that are an equal split between two completely different niches. And then I see some people that are all in on one niche. And the point is, Liz, there's not one formula that works for every artist out there. There's no reason to think that you will not make it unless you have a niche. It might be the opposite. You might be all over the place, and people just really like what Liz is doing, and they're attracted to your mind and what you see creatively, and you can create whatever the heck you want. And you'll never know, and you'll never know, nor will anyone else, until you spend enough time working at it and attempting to market the art and attempting to sell the art. And once you do that, you have an idea about whether or not you need to have the niche or not. And in some cases, you'll find, guess what? You do have a niche. Meaning, you've got a bunch of work on your site, let's say, and you start doing your marketing for like a year. And after that year is over, you go and look at your sales. And let's say you have like 3 or 4 different subject materials on your site. And what you found after you ran the numbers is that 80% of your revenue at the end of the year is coming from 20% of your work. At that point in time, the market is essentially telling you do have a niche, and that's it. And maybe drop all the rest of that stuff and go all in on the 20% that's yielding the 80% of income. That's the revenue. But guess what? The reverse is just as true, just as often. Straight up. I mean, the one story I tell all the time, which because I love it, is a guy, restaurant manager, aspiring photographer. He took nighttime photos of sort of industrial like bridges in the Minneapolis, St. Paul area, sort of around that region. Really cool photos at night, actually. Amazing. And landscapes to a certain extent. And the business was going pretty good selling those. It was all right. Turns out he had another passion, which was going into a certain theme park and taking photos inside the theme park, which, by the way, is legal. You can do that. And now that is the bigger portion of his business, and he still sells the 2 of them. Now, those 2 are not even close. That's not even close to the same niche, right? You could argue maybe it's the same style because they're landscape style photos, but his business is doing great. He just quit his job, which we told him not to do, by the way. Don't quit your job. Keep investing in the business and growing it for as long as you can. But anyway, he just quit his job, and now he's full time, and he's killing it. He's doing great. So there's a perfect example of like, people do not normally like those one thing and then the other. Most people do not want a photo of a theme park, but also like, kind of like grainy industrial like bridge photos at night. Like put significantly different niches. But anyway, there's a million stories like that. But all right, if there's no more question, guys, I think we will leave it there. I hope that was valuable. As soon as the session's over, if you're any of the ones that are on the Zoom, I'm going to send you the replay, of course, and there'll be links in there if you want to go back and look at it. Check it out for any reason at all. Otherwise, hope to see you on a session in the future, or if you've got questions, you can certainly email me. Appreciate you guys coming. Appreciate the attention. Yeah, appreciate the Facebook comments and questions. It makes it way more fun for me when I get to answer some questions. So, wish all of you guys a fantastic week, and I'll see you around.